What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Truth and Transparency. Today is Thursday, day 19 in the Nancy Guthrie search. February 19th. We got polygraphs coming into play. Again, investigative genetic genealogy and Google searches. But first, since I'm in Columbus, inside the Les Wexner deposition.
Today, this New Albany property was center stage for intense questioning about convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
I'm going to take Bella on over to this property in New Albany. Yes, we are in Columbus, so we're going to take a little trip. But Leslie was deposed by a congressperson. Here we go.
Answering the questions, one of the most prominent figures in Central Ohio, Les Wexner. And we've now learned the deposition has ended after 6 hours of questioning.
A House Oversight Committee spokesperson says Wexner answered every question, and they plan to release video and a transcript soon.
The New Albany billionaire.
Ooh, talk about some tea. They're going to release that transcript, baby. We will be doing a read of that transcript.
Billionaire has long been connected.
6-hour deposition. Speaking of depositions and transcripts and video, Jennifer Drake has a nice deposition that's available.
Connected to Epstein, Wexner has never been charged in connection with Epstein's crimes and maintains he was unaware of them.
But the lawmakers who came to Central Ohio are not letting Wexner push aside his alleged connections.
There is no single person that was more involved in providing Jeffrey Epstein with the financial support to commit his crimes than Les Wexner.
We have met with the victims of Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and the rich and powerful people that helped to perpetuate these crimes. And we have heard over and over from these victims the name of Les Wexner and the importance of following the money.
We thank you for joining us here on NBC4 at
Boom. I love it. Following the money. Yes. Yes.
5. I'm Jared Smalley.
And I'm Jennifer Bullock. And
just so you guys know, if you guys aren't from Columbus, which a lot of you guys are not, or come here often, his name is everywhere. Okay, we have a lot of Fortune 500 companies that are in this area, and if you were to go over where like Easton is, you got the Limited brand, you got Victoria's Secret. You got Les Wexner's name on everything Ohio State, a lot of hospitals. Okay. His name, I mean, it's, if I wanted to start probably doing like a boots on the ground thing about this, I could probably make some serious people, really uncomfortable, because it's 19 days we're searching for Nancy, right? Look over here, not over here. This is getting no media coverage. None. Because all the media is down, camped out outside of Nancy Guthrie's house.
NBC4's Anna Hoffman has been closely following the action in New Albany and is live there now to break down what we learned from today's deposition. Anna?
And Jared, the deposition of New Albany billionaire Les Wexner.
Oh my God, Bella, it's our favorite, Anna Hoffman. Anna, we tried to give you the scoop back on the Tepe murders.
Happened behind closed doors, but there's no doubt it was the talk of this town. Wexner, who has not been charged with the crime, testified before the House Oversight Committee, saying that he was conned by Epstein. He says, just like everyone else. Meanwhile, committee Democrats say they're not buying it, and they're committed to putting an end to any cover-up.
Hold on right there.
He has basically...
Do you hear it has to be like, meanwhile, the Democrats aren't buying it. You guys, I don't have a label. I don't buy it. Like, why must we say that, Anna? Why must we say that? Why do we have to be saying that if you're a right or a left, that's why you buy or don't buy something? Because the other side's the person that's, why the media pushes it. And it's just absolutely obvious and it's laughable.
Alleged that he saw no evil, heard no evil, despite being in the room with Jeffrey Epstein over and over and over. And it's really just not credible.
Wednesday, all eyes are on this New Albany mansion, the home of Ohio billionaire Les Wexner. This is where some Democratic members of the Congressional Oversight Committee questioned Wexner for hours as a part of their investigation into convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
In fact, it's clear that Mr. Wexner is trying to downplay how close Jeffrey Epstein and Mr. Wexner actually were.
Wexner and Epstein were known to have a close business relationship and friendship until Wexner says he cut ties in 2007. Oversight Democrats revealed in a press conference.
Interesting when he cut ties, 2007. Give it up for Ashley Banfield, who decided to seek out Jeffrey after 2008 when he was known to be doing what he was doing. In 2012, asking if he was single. Just mind-blowing, you know. Hey, is your friend Jeffrey, is he single? So Les cut ties in 2007. He knew it was coming.
They are aware of about $1 billion provided to Epstein from Wexner.
It's important to remember that all the evidence, the documentary evidence that we've received so far, much of it points to this witness and Les Wexner's involvement.
NBC4 obtained a copy of the prepared testimony Wexner gave to the committee. In it, it says, quote, "I was naive, foolish, and gullible to put any trust in Jeffrey Epstein. He was a con man, and while I was conned, I have done nothing wrong and have nothing to hide."
Les Wexner handed his power of attorney to Jeffrey Epstein. He allowed Jeffrey Epstein to live in his homes, to have hundreds of millions of his dollars, to use his yachts and his planes. This was obviously a very, very close relationship.
A person close to this investigation told NBC4 Wexner testified he visited Epstein Island once for an hour on Epstein's request. He testified he did not see any prominent figures there. That person also told NBC4 that Wexner testified Epstein never presented him with women for his sexual entertainment. In Wexner's prepared...
How about men? How about men? How about Abercrombie models? How about the new Victoria's Secret? They started doing the men in their boxer stuff with the juicy stuff back. What was it? Started doing it with Limited. I gotta go check that date.
Her testimony, he said, quote, "I want to acknowledge the survivors of Epstein's terrible crimes and the devastation that each of them has endured as a result. The pain he inflicted upon them is unfathomable to me. My heart goes out to each of them."
It may be a question.
I will say he has given a shit ton of money to a lot of organizations. I always say people that have so much money, they can't be that naive, you know, because how do you make all your money? So I'm going to do a little deep dive into Leslie. But he's so old now. Like, how old is he now? But there's people here that want his name off of anything that has his name on it.
Question as to whether Les Wexner was involved in the crimes directly. But there is no question in my mind, given the evidence so far, that Les Wexner knew about this and failed to stop it and gave Epstein license and the ability to commit these crimes.
If you feel you're not getting the answer
Go ahead, Justin.
today, what should we expect next from you guys?
I think what's next is we may have additional questions. We have more people to speak to, folks that are involved with Mr. Wexner and that have done business with him.
Will you ask for the finance records that was mentioned?
Absolutely. We're asking for those.
Finance records. Oh my God. If they get those finance records, holy shit. Woo!
The Democrats said this afternoon that Wexner had not invoked his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination, but his attorneys did have plenty of objections. They say that no Republicans are present in New Albany for today's questioning. Local for you in New Albany, I'm Anna Hoffman, NBC4.
Anna.
Can you believe that though? Usually at a deposition, you know, for example, I'll just throw you an example. These civil cases that are going on with the Karen Reed case, right? You have the right to be in all of those. So if you are ever doing this and your lawyer says something, no, put your happy ass up in that deposition. Okay. Put your happy ass up in that deposition. So I'm sure, I'm curious if Karen Reed's attending any of these depositions. If you know your case, right? You know follow-ups to ask, you'd want to be involved. I know I would want to be involved if I knew my case, right? And I want to take the notes and I have my set of questions and here. So I'm curious. I'm curious why some people didn't show up. But then again, I'm going to look into that myself.
Thank you so much.
This is what was going on yesterday. It was a 6-hour deposition. And I bet you they're going to have him back.
The sheriff was asked by Brian Enton about additional cameras at Nancy's. Now, keep in mind, Ashley Banfield.
Okay, that's what I've been asking for, right? There's additional cameras. Okay, there's additional footage, right? And I get it. They're not going to give us everything. That's why I know that it exists. But not only are we talking about the ring or the nests out front, switching gears over here back to Nancy, by the way. But what about the one that was on the roof, right? So here, this is what Brian Enton was like, hey, he finally gave me a chance, you know what I mean, to sit in front of him. Here, we're going to put a call into the sheriff today, by the way.
To what he said.
At that at all?
You know, I'm sure the FBI's looked into that as well, but no, I mean, we check all the leads we have. We're like everybody else. We know where Mexico is in relationship to this, and certainly it's a possibility, but no, we have nothing to indicate that.
Nothing to indicate that she is in Mexico. That's what he just said. Nothing to indicate that she is in Mexico. I'll go down and I'll burn on this hill. I have no problem dying on this hill. You guys, if she went to Mexico and she was taken to Mexico, I believe that would have happened right away. So that was one of the topics for today's list of 5 that I have for us is this whole Mexico talk. The next topic is going to be, we have IGG that we're going to talk about again. We're going to talk about the Google searches. We're going to talk about, yep, Carlos got a lawyer, Jesse Showalter. Jesse Showalter has agreed to come on and an interview with me for about 10 to 15 minutes. So I'm doing it live in studio, and then I'll be re-airing it live with all of you guys. Let's see. We're going to talk about polygraphs here. They're clearing people through polygraphs. You know, what's up with that talk? And then as always, we're going to check in with JLR, and we're going to check in with our TMZ bullshit of the day.
And yet, this just in from Fox News' Michael Ruiz. A federal law enforcement source confirms the FBI has contacted Mexican authorities in connection with the Nancy Guthrie case.
And ultimately, you're going to lose more and more credibility. And the family, you know, Savannah and the other family members, will be losing their faith and hope in the capability of actually retrieving their mother in whatever capacity that might be. I think, again, the problem with the sheriff, I mean, even going to the camera's point, he said...
And certain that there is no connection between the kidnapping and the siblings or the siblings' spouses, the Guthrie siblings?
I am completely, I think we put out a statement yesterday. I put it out. 100% certain that this family has been completely victimized. And the re-victimization should not occur, ever.
No, Jim, you are a linguist. No, none of it works.
None of it does work. And these exonerations always bother me. In the John Benet Ramsey case, the family was completely exonerated by the Boulder.
These exonerations, you guys, they're using the words exonerate. Okay. He exonerate. you get exonerated after you are found guilty. Okay. Is when you get exonerated usually. Or when you are acquitted from being like wrongfully accused. Okay. I can't with the language. exonerate. Who said that? This channel said it, not the sheriff. He said that the family's being they're 100% being victimized. Okay, that's what he said. Victimized.
Gay. Not saying anyone in the family killed the girl, but just a complete exoneration to me makes no sense. I'm on a podcast right now, my own podcast.
Well, Jim Fitzgerald, let me tell you something. Get better detectives, and then that wouldn't have been a complete debacle with the JonBenet Ramsey case, okay? But I'll tell you what, if that case would have happened today, all right, y'all would have wanted to use IGG, right? And y'all would have been arresting the guy that packaged JonBenet Ramsey's panties, okay? So there you go. Because his DNA was on her underwear.
Old Red, we're talking to the father of a woman killed in British Columbia in 2008. And the family, the police there, Saanich PD, have completely exonerated her boyfriend and her boy.
Ridic. Sorry, Jim. Have a good day. Whoops.
Million.
I didn't want to click on this, but I do want to talk about people saying that certain people can't cover the case. It's like the case has been, where's my crap that I want to put up? Oh boy, hold on. Only certain people can cover the case. Didn't you guys know that? It's going to go back over here. Brian Enton's, right here. Polygraphs.
Really appreciate it. Please click to subscribe. This is now Wednesday, the latest on the Nancy Guthrie investigation. New information about polygraphs and also the FBI talking to officials in Mexico. I'm going to get into all of that in this episode. I also wanted to show you guys all these flowers.
Unit that Brian Terry was part of.
Oh my God, Ash Wednesday. Remember I was telling you guys about that? Look at that. Get your ashes.
Someone to get Nancy in. I mean, keeping in mind that she's 84, she's not going to be able to walk in. Like, she doesn't have that kind of mobility. If you had her in the car, how difficult would that be?
I wouldn't expect that to be very difficult to drive in there at all. Obviously, when you're dealing with somebody who's a little bit more advanced in age, there are other physical issues that captors would have to consider. But none of that should preclude them from being able to seamlessly get into Mexico, in my opinion.
And once across the border, I mean, I guess you could take her anywhere. I mean, I guess that's
at that point, it depends on. Yeah, it depends on what their intentions are. It depends on what contacts they have. It depends on if they're from Mexico, if they're working with people in Mexico, or if it's just if they're working in isolation. So there are a lot of factors, but they have access to the country and the ability to move around. So I'm not the least bit surprised that we've made contact. I'm sure that we're working with our Legat office down there in Mexico, tapping our sources, anything we can do to identify a possible route of travel.
Okay.
Range. So you've really become like an expert on missing people in a sense. You've been out here for a couple of days now. What was your first, I feel like I've kind of become numb to some things because I've been out here for 2 weeks. What were your impressions when you got out here?
Well, first impression just on the attention this case is receiving stands out. And it's a question we get a lot. And it's a criticism these cases get. So like Nancy's case, why are so many people paying attention to this when there's so many other cases? I mean, my immediate answer is we are paying attention to other cases. But there's something unique about this. One, the circumstances in which she was taken in the middle of the night, an 84-year-old woman who does that. And she's Savannah Guthrie's mom. So those are two big reasons why this case is getting so much attention. Gabby Petito's case.
Okay, how can they not say that the other reason why is because of TMZ and the whole ransom? Okay, TMZ reached a ridiculous pocket full of people, right? And this ransom and all that shit. That should be included as to why this would be this way.
Which you and I both covered, also got national and global attention. Why? They were vlogging this romantic road trip across the country, and there was video evidence of it. We saw the video on the side of the street when the state troopers pulled them over. So we had a lot to go on, and it kind of told a story. A lot of the other cases, we don't have half of that. So it's a lot easier to pursue them investigatively. It's a lot easier to get the public's attention when you have those elements. A lot of other stories don't have that. That said, families want this type of attention on every single one of their cases. I wish they got it, but it's a resource thing and they often don't. But I think the public's help can really contribute to the investigation in this case, and let's hope it does. They're getting thousands and thousands of tips, which is incredible.
Yeah, and some people are like, oh, the case is going cold. But I mean, you actually work cold case missing cases. And so you know the difference. This doesn't feel like a cold case.
I read a stat recently in the last 24 hours, Brian, something like 84 days a case is considered cold, or up to a year it can be considered cold. I talk to families who have a missing person 10 years, 20 years ago, and they're like, our case is not cold. We'll talk to an investigator and go, no, we're still pursuing leads on that. So I think that it's subjective, cold case or not. This is not cold. This is hot. And I feel like there's momentum in this case because of how much evidence we have. We have the gloves that they're testing for evidence. We have the video surveillance.
Dude, if I was missing for 10 or 20 years and you guys think that my case wouldn't be considered cold, I'd laugh at you. Okay, if I was the missing person. 10 or 20 years, not considered a cold case. Dude, what the fuck are you talking about? This is Tina with What the Fuck Translation Services. That is absolutely crazy to even remotely say.
From the front porch, whatever evidence they have from inside of the house. They have a lot that a lot of other missing cases that we cover don't have half of that in terms of evidence. People, frankly, just fall off the grid and their loved ones go, they vanished and they would not have taken off. We don't understand. That's not the case in this one, which I think helps with police.
And
yeah, like the Maura Murray case. Let's talk about that case.
You drove around the neighborhood a lot. You were over at the spot where they found that one glove, or I don't know if it was a pair of gloves. What's your sense from the area? Like, what are your takeaways after driving around so much?
It's very windy. There's a lot of really thick vegetation. It's dark at night. So all of that made me think how hard it would be to find this place. You wouldn't stumble upon Nancy's house if you weren't looking for it, especially showing up with a mask and a gun. You wouldn't just wander on this house. And as we watched the suspect walk up to the door, the place where they found the gloves, so we drove from Nancy.
Attention when there are all these other missing people. And again, you do the stories every week that like people aren't really talking as much about at all. How do people find your stories, like so they can get the word out about these cases that aren't getting attention?
Well, so when we launched our missing series in 2021, after Gabby's disappearance, we would often go seeking cases, trying to find cases, working with some of our local stations. We would work through NAMIS, the National Database, which is a depository for missing cases. And now that we've been doing this for 5 years, the cases come to us and people find us. So I tell everybody, if you have a missing case you think we should investigate, send it directly to it.
Maura Murray. Okay. Next up. On the wild west here. They're just circling.
The latest ransom note is being called and the FBI is now analyzing a new ransom note as the reward for information leading to Nancy Guthrie's return is climbing. And the latest ransom note is being called highly sophisticated. Retired homicide detective John Bueller joining us from Tucson, Arizona this morning. Do you have any indication of what's in this letter?
No, this is kind of the first I heard of this recent one. They haven't been releasing much information, as you guys know, frustrating to us here on the ground. Most of the time yesterday, we were up there at Nancy's house in the area around there, poking around. But if the FBI is interested in this note, there might be something solid to it. We just have to wait and find out.
So we're hearing there might be a little bit of a struggle between the FBI and the county sheriff over there. Do you know anything about that?
Well, it's kind of folklore. There's always been a little rivalry between the FBI and local detectives.
What is this?
It's usually more tongue-in-cheek. I worked with a lot of great FBI agents over the years. Good cooperative relationship. The Bureau helped us out on many things. And then oftentimes, at least in California, we were able to do things that the FBI agents could not do without approval that it would have to take many days. So we do hear the friction sometimes, but I think a lot of that is up to higher ranks more so than on the ground where the detectives and the agents work hand in hand.
You know, there were some early reports or indications that maybe Nancy Guthrie could have been taken to Mexico as a part of a kidnapping and that reward and ransom. How seriously are investigators looking at that?
Well, they are aware of that. I was actually talking to a Border Patrol agent yesterday about that very thing. He was describing it's a little bit more difficult to work these things down in Mexico, especially when you're trying to trace cell phone hits and things like that, because they don't have the same type of tower arrangement that we have here in the U.S. It's much more difficult to get away with it here because the towers will hit real close to where the bad guy is. But in Mexico, it's a little bit different. Now, it would have been difficult to get her across the border unless they were able to secure her somewhere and covertly bring her back in the opposite direction that they used to bring the illegals in here.
And as you're looking at this investigation, timing becomes such a huge factor here. I mean, certainly the first 24, 48 hours, extremely important for finding that fresh evidence. But as we move further and further away, how much does her health, her heart condition, things along those lines?
Area around there, poking around. But if
Oh
the
my
FBI
God.
is interested in
Is
this note, they're
Is he from freaking hold on one second. If this is the same guy from Modesto, I'm gonna die. Modesto. If this is him. Yes. Yeah. Right here. It is. This is the detective, one of them in the Lacey Peterson case. Clown. in
might
my
be
opinion.
something solid to it. We just have to wait and find out.
So we're hearing there might be a little bit of a struggle between the FBI and the county
He's now
sheriff
living
over
in
there. Do you know anything
Florida.
about that?
He's a law enforcement consultant.
Well, they are aware of that. I was actually talking to a Border Patrol agent yesterday about that
Yeah,
very
that's
thing. He was describing it's a little bit more difficult to work these things down in Mexico,
I cannot
especially when
believe
you're
this.
trying to trace
What is this
cell
new
phone
ransom?
hits
What
and
is
things like
talking
that
about?
because they don't have the same type of tower arrangement that we have here in the U.S. It's much more difficult to get away with it here because the towers will
my
hit
God,
real
it
close
is.
to where the bad guy is.
Get outta
But in
here.
Mexico, it's a little bit different. Now, it would have been difficult to get her across the border unless they were able to secure her somewhere and covertly bring her back in the opposite direction that they used to bring the illegals in here.
And as you're looking at this
Dude, you're so
investigation,
dirty.
timing becomes such
I
a huge
cannot
factor
wait.
here. I mean, certainly
Wait
the
till
first
you guys see
24,
this.
48 hours.
Wait till you see what the LA Innocence Project literally is about to do to all these detectives, all those cops in Modesto.
Extremely
All
important
coming.
for finding that fresh evidence. But as we move
I cannot believe that he is on this case.
further away, how
I'm
much
weird.
does her health, her
Go
heart
back
condition,
to
things
this.
along those lines play into the hands of those investigators there?
Who
Well,
knows?
guys, again, another great question, and that's something that everybody that I've spoke to down here is really concerned about because she does have the health
She's out
issues.
there.
Are they giving her medication? Are they caring for her the way that she needs to be cared for? That's the unknown question, and we can only hope that they have some semblance of civility and humanity left inside them in spite of
cannot
being the
believe what's
criminals that
happening
they
here.
are to do something like this.
I'm wondering, the police kind of focusing a little bit in Mexico. Was it because they're doing due diligence?
God, I have so many questions to this man. It's about the Lacey Peterson, Scott Peterson case, though. Not this at all.
So they got a tip. They heard that maybe they were trying to fill a prescription in Mexico that would keep Nancy Guthrie alive.
Yeah, they haven't released any specific information like that. I think you hit it right the first time, though. Due diligence. It's something that you can't take off the board.
Due
It's
diligence.
something that you have to look into. And that's the problem with a case like this because you're
You flat out lied about what the date of the burglary across the street. Oh my God, you are sick, dude. You knew when the burglary was. You guys lied about the date of that. You guys lied about it all. All of it. Oh my God, this is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Yeah, get him on the scent trace of where Nancy Guthrie is. Because if anybody, here, go get some dogs. Go ahead. Go do your thing. Where did the dogs trace back for Lacey? Right to where that van was. Right over to the airport district. Sick. Absolutely sick. Go. Go. He should be able to find Nancy like this.
smothered.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You guys knew where to place Lacey. Oh, hey, where'd you go? Oh, Scott Peterson went where? He went fishing? Uh-huh. He didn't go fishing. He took the fishing boat out to test it because it was a gift for Christmas. So don't forget about that.
By incoming tips, so many of them.
You know how small that boat was? Do you know how much a dead body weighs? Have you guys ever seen the boat tape trying to do what they say he did? he would have capsized the boat. Good luck. Go out there and try it. Not only that, but they had experts that really weren't experts. And these new experts who were like, did their reports 100 and some pages worth and said that this is all bullshit. This is not where Lacey or Connor would have ever ended up if they would have, if Scott would have put them in the water where they say that happened. And it's based off of actual science. Not what happened in the first trial. Not what happened ever. And Mark Garagos, you didn't listen to any of your researchers or your coworkers. And this guy right here knew that there was that burglary with the Modesto police were involved in that, the Hells Angels, and then their meth tweaker, like, you know, drug selling people. But that was a designed hit across the street. And then the Medinas, when they got back, they put in and they got $50,000 for that, which is unheard of to be able to claim against your homeowners. I've done hella research in the Scott Peterson case. I've maintained that Scott Peterson was innocent because there is absolutely no physical evidence against that man. He had cheated on Lacey before. That was nothing new. And there was 13 sightings of Lacey after he left. And the most significant one that got buried that Mark Garagos did not know was the mailman talking about that the dog wasn't there when he delivered the mail. Yeah, unreal. But this man right here knew the date of the burglary across the street was the same time and pushed the date of the burglary in the Lacey Peterson case to happen 2 days afterwards on the 26th, not the 24th. Sick.
You have to sort through them and prioritize them while you're doing the things that normally you would do. So the border is something that they're concerned about, that they're looking at. They can't ignore it because it's so close.
And John, we heard the sheriff there say that they are focusing on the house itself and any potential DNA that they found in the house, almost sort of pushing back on that glove possibility. What did you make of him saying that? Do you think that's the right strategy at this point, focusing on maybe any evidence that they found in the house?
Yeah, they're doing that the right way. I can't see any error in that. But of course, once again, the scientific evidence and processing of DNA is a time-consuming process, and it has to be peer-reviewed, and it doesn't just happen overnight. So also you can.
Wow, just to hear you talk like this, you would think that you're an upstanding, detective.
Part of the evidence when you do tests for that, and they need to
peer review. Amazing. That's nothing that happened in the Scott Peterson, Lacey Peterson case, which the LA Innocence Project ripped you guys of.
Could preserve as much as they can for further testing when that comes up. The DNA results could reveal a suspect, but we never know when that's going to come up.
You guys buried what the fire chief told you guys, and he filled out an affidavit, and it's so fucking sickly good. Oh, God, you guys are all going down.
Well, we appreciate you joining us this morning.
Internet salting now.
John Bueller, on the ground in Tucson, Arizona. Thank you so much.
I cannot. I'm like just literally shell shocked right now that he's on this case. And that he literally was just talking about an hour ago that there's this new ransom letter. We'll hear from Ashley here, Mexico.
Yes, I believe it was.
And how long do you think it will take to catch this man or
I've
men?
been doing this for 50 years. I could sit here and tell you, boy, we'll never solve this case. And then the next day we solve it. Here's one that I go, man, I wish we could solve it in the next 10 minutes. It may be the next 10 days, the next 10 months, or worse.
Where do you think Nancy Guthrie is?
I think she's somewhere here in our community.
Locally?
Yeah.
What makes you think that?
I just do. I don't know why.
DB, how great is it going to be when people get to see what we just saw in the Zachary Adams case in Tennessee, when Scott Peterson has that happening in California with the Innocence Project, the LA Innocence Project, showing and having all of those witnesses come on through in the habeas. What do you think? I think I've read through over 2,000 pages, have put it out there. It's going to be absolutely fascinating.
I don't have any evidence to prove that, but I just believe that she's somewhere here locally.
Look, everybody has the right in an investigation to change their minds and to follow the evidence where it leads. And they should. I have said it since the beginning. I have screamed it since the beginning. That was the reporting early on. It wasn't some theory that I floated.
Hey, DB, I was thinking, is there any way that we can create a Google Drive to share on my community post with all of the Scott Peterson filings in terms of like what the LA Innocence Project has just recently filed in terms of this, 2025 August. I wonder how hard that'd be to be able to provide. That way they can just go and click on the community tab where I have the posts. Because everybody needs to see this.
I saw USA Today wrote that the other day, that I floated a theory. No, this is a trusted law enforcement source who said that was the focus. It does beg the question, were they tunnel vision? Were they only looking there? And did that cost us valuable time in this investigation looking elsewhere? Because all of a sudden, a week plus later, this guy shows up on a ring cam that the feds were able to extract from the Google
that they had from day one.
Google data, right? It is an interesting topic for discussion, and it's a fair topic for discussion because sometimes that can happen. Sometimes you can be so focused, and one of my guests previously said that it's confirmation bias, and then you just get all your evidence to confirm
it is
what you think instead of widening the aperture. But I am fascinated to see that the sheriff is admitting that they put the family through the ringer early on, admitting towed the car, admitting seized the house, admitting seized the phones. We hadn't heard that before. Seized the phones, privacy screens to open the back, hatch, and then towed it off on a flatbed. Still don't know what happened with that. But that guy's lawyer put out a statement, and because there's been a lot of people like shredding the guy who was detained. I don't know why his lawyer put his name out, but I'm just going to call him. Just in from the attorney for the man detained Friday night. His law firm can confirm that he was the subject of 2 search warrants issued and served on February 13th, 2026. He and his mother were both detained by law enforcement while the search warrants were being executed. Neither this man nor his mother were arrested in connection to this case or any other. He has no link whatsoever to Nancy Guthrie and has no information related to her kidnapping. Like the entire Tucson community, both he and his mother are hopeful that Nancy will be returned to her family unharmed. So that's the lawyer for that man finally coming forward and saying, stop. But, what's interesting is that Brian Enton reported that his sources say there's still some meat on the bones and that the investigation continues in that particular Friday night raid of last week. It was 13th. Remember, Feb 13th, the night before Valentine's Day. We were all up till 4 a.m. watching this all happen. They brought out like an army to raid this house and then, detain this guy. We still don't know the information that came from that silver Range Rover. So there's still some kind of investigative work that's going on there, but this lawyer is pretty definitive, like back the F off. Okay, and then this is a good way to kind of bring it to a close. Matt Finn said that Fox has been told by some of the federal sources and by Sheriff Danos himself that the FBI and the Sheriff's Department are getting along fine. I was told this again today. So
who started the crap?
This morning, 19 days into the search for Nancy Guthrie.
Who started it? Who started that? Huh? Who started that bullshit? Who started that shit? Well, the media. the media source. Unreal. All right, now let's talk about these clicks. Let's talk about people freaking out. Who's covering this case? Why are people covering this case? Who people can cover cases, right? I mean, what's the problem here? Let's find out. But first, we got to do our JLR check-in. Here he is, the one and only JLR. I love how he says, breaking manhunt Nancy Guthrie every day. It's just...
On the east side of the port of entry,
there he is.
In Keno Springs, there is also dirt roads that take you to the border wall. But on that particular side, there is no border wall. This is just a few miles east of Nogales. And they use these, I don't know what these is. I call them crawls. But you could literally, that's a dirt road that literally you could take it from the main road to the dirt road and literally cross over. You could literally cross over. It is scary because it's not secure at all. I mean, at quarter entries in Arizona, and you're going through all types of camera systems, and
there's the
31st into the 1st, the morning hours of the 1st, something bad happened here. Something really bad happened here.
And what are these people doing?
Coffee says, D-Rod. Always great to see you, D-Rod.
D-Rod rocking my D's.
What was crazy? Now, this was 2 years ago. It's 2024. Things have changed, obviously. But not only that, but I was sitting down there straddling the border, putting one foot on the other side, saying, hey, you know, I'm half in Mexico, half in the United States.
Come on.
But I was down there for hours, and I didn't see one border patrol.
Straddling the border. I love it.
Might be stretched thin. R-L-F-I-N-L-A. Finla. R-L Finla. Always see you in the chat. Nice to see you. Thank you.
Straddle, baby.
Is there a Mexican element to this situation? People are saying head down there. We will. There's two things that we'll do, and I vowed. Not only that, but down on the border wall, they had like water jugs and everything. It's crazy. Now that's just in Nogales, which is pretty much, if you would say that Nancy came out of this home here, put in a vehicle, someone took her up on the Interstate 10, probably, maybe. We're going on that theory. Shoot down 19, go past Rio Rico, get to Nogales, don't go through the port of entry. Now, she very well could have went through the port of entry, too. But I think you would be detected that way.
I do, too.
Unless they had her in a trunk and the trunk didn't get searched or no one gets searched. But some people in the chat are like, no Mexico.
No Mexico.
No Mexico at all.
James Taylor, baby.
I app you feeding the dogs in Eagle Pass.
Okay. How are we just now in day 19 and people want to talk about Mexico when we've all known that the Mexico border has been where it's been located in this case since day one? I think that's bizarre.
Arizona is a different ball game than the border in Texas, by the way. It's Wild West. We actually, it was crazy because the Sheriff Nanos gave a press conference about that Border Patrol shooting in Arivaca, just before Nancy Guthrie went missing. The sheriff actually gave a press conference, and we were talking about that place, which is a little bit more west than Nogales. But that's another option to sneak in and out of the Mexico undetected. You just go there. It's called the No More Death Camps. It's 15 minutes east of Sassabee. It's between Sassabee and Nogales. It's Wild West out there. No border patrol out there. At time years ago, things could change. Don't know. We should go down there. I have a feeling if we drive around down there by the border wall, we'll probably get guns drawn on us by border patrol and stuff like that. They're not playing around. But we should.
Taylor, what you doing down
it's
here?
that easy to go there and that
Taylor,
easy to see. But the problem is I don't think we can live stream there because the reception is horrible.
Is it?
I think I've done a live stream there before. In Nogales. But it's
raining
there. Comes in and out. So here's the current scene right now.
Current scene.
Front of Nancy Guthrie's home. Pat,
Not
thank you.
currency, but current scene.
And
get it?
This is what we're looking at. Rain. So
Rain.
we'll look at flight radar a minute and see how long the rain is going to last. So it appears like one of the media outlets is going to go down there and talk about prescription medications because, we've been hearing with Nancy that she needs much needed medication, which we don't know what medication she took in order to stay alive. in Mexico, you could probably get all types of medications here, really cheap, undetected. People have asked in the chat, said, how much supply of medication has Nancy had at the time she vanished? When was the last time she filled her medication?
All right, we're going to check in here. I want to talk a little bit about this DNA. JLR, we'll be right back with you.
Or is this Mexico stuff just a bunch of hogwash?
Yep, that's what I think, JLR. It's all hogwash. Anjanette Levy had a guest on, and popping this on really quick at a point right here.
Statement today where the lawyer says they can confirm the client was the subject of 2 search warrants, and the client and his mother were both detained by law enforcement. This was last Friday night. Neither 100%. Plus, I think as women, I appreciate the transparency. Don't get me wrong, and I appreciate male DNA on it.
Okay.
There's DNA at the house that doesn't match Nancy Guthrie or her close loved ones. And yet we're getting it broadcast to us that, oh, we've got this glove 2 miles from the house and we are going to test it. And then it gets up, first of all, that they're going to test it. What's your reaction to that? I can see that because it's like, you don't know if somebody drove away and they're tossing stuff out the window, but they also said there were like 16 gloves discarded by searchers around the property, which I think is insane. Put your stuff in the trash. This is a crime scene. I mean, what do you make of this testing a glove found 2 miles away? Is that a sign of desperation?
So, I mean, again, we're not there. We're not seeing it, right? So for some reason, this glove that was found 2 miles away compared to the other 16 or however many, it must be different enough. I don't really know. I don't know how you justify putting that in CODIS.
There it is. Exactly. You guys, there
could be eyewitness statements that wasn't there the night before the murder and it was there after the murder or whatever, the day before. But the rules of CODIS are pretty strict. It has to be tied to the crime. The profile has to be from the perpetrator, and there has to be a crime committed. So we know a couple of those, but tying it to the crime 2 miles away, I don't really know how that got entered into CODIS, honestly. It's,
also we're over here saying there's a difference between if you submit something to CODIS, that doesn't mean that it was accepted. So it's really important, the key words here. When they say, hey, we submitted something to CODIS, CODIS can say, yeah, you can submit whatever you want. Yep, nope. Yep, nope. So
again, we're not there, so I'm not going to put myself in their shoes, but I would think that the agency would have to justify why they think that glove in particular is the one that is connected to this crime in order for it to live in CODIS. Now, there's a chance that they searched it in CODIS. It was a keyboard search is what they call it. It's a one-time search and it's not actually living in there. That is permitted at times. But I was pretty surprised that being so far away that they would test it and put it in CODIS. And then they're talking about it, which is also, to your original point, it's pretty surprising that they're actually coming out and saying what they found and where they found it and that it doesn't match and all of those things.
Right. And I'm shocked because, first of all, let's go back to the CODIS part of this. I thought that it had to be what they call probative. And you're saying that means essentially that it has to be part of the crime scene.
Yeah. So the rules are that it has to be associated with a crime. The evidence has to be associated with a crime. The profile has to be sufficient, which it sounds like it was in this situation. And the profile has to be from the suspect. We don't put victims into CODIS. We don't put homeowners into CODIS if it's something from their home.
So when you say it has to be suitable, like I'm assuming it has to have a certain number of loci or whatever, it can't be like some degraded profile.
Correct. It has to have enough locations, loci. You got it right. Look, you're trained.
I pay attention. When I cover these trials, I literally sit there and I actually pay attention.
Great job. But yes,
I said
Anjanette's not coloring.
it right.
You did.
Yep.
Yes.
But it has to be because I've seen it on the screen where they put up the DNA, I can picture it in my mind where they put up a DNA profile. Say it's degraded, and then they put up the victim's profile.
Correct.
And it's got all the points or whatever, the loci, but then maybe the partial profile only has X number but they're able to tell still. And then I guess you can do stuff like mitochondrial DNA and all this stuff to like further confirm like that the victim is the victim if the remains are too degraded and stuff like that. That's just what I remember from covering some cases. So now we've got unknown DNA at the crime scene that they won't talk about what they believe it is. They won't say if it's blood. They won't say if it's skin cells. They won't say if it's semen, saliva, something like that, which is, I have to think.
That's what we've been talking about over here is what are we dealing with when they're saying that there's DNA, what type? DNA comes in many different forms for, your DNA.
That Nancy Guthrie awakened in the middle of the night, didn't just, sit there and say, yes, I'm going to go with you. Her daughter has described her as spunky. I'm assuming she fought, and which just makes me so sad. But she, she likely fought. We know she was bleeding, but she was on blood thinners. So if you're on blood thinners, it doesn't take much for you to bleed. Right. So there is unknown DNA there at the scene. So now they're going the investigative genetic genealogy route. I kind of gave an overview of this before you came on. Not my area of expertise. I just know about it from covering this stuff. And I tried to explain to everybody how you take the STR.
Okay, so here's the question I have. If there's DNA at the scene, right? And you're able to make an STR profile, right? Then you find a pair of gloves that are on the side of the road that you say, oh my God, those look like the gloves worn by the person on camera. And let's say that they were like double bagged. So it was like a glove within a glove or something. That's what makes us say like, come on guys, this has to be that glove, those gloves, because it was like a double wrapping, whatever. When you would test the gloves that you found on the side of the road, you would have your STR profile. And why wouldn't you compare the STR profile from the gloves on the side of the road to the STR profile from inside the home? Does it match? Like, it's not like, this is not like rocket science. And it tells me that it doesn't match. Like, and then they're saying to themselves, guys, there was more than one person though. So that DNA wouldn't match. It's got to be the other person's. Well, now that would just make total sense, says Jude, right? So STR is what it's called. It's the standard tandem repeat. That's what when you go and you want to test, like, hey, I think that somebody touched this. So, hey, go take it to the lab. They swab and they're able to come up with, hey, we have a profile here and we found there were skin cells and it led to, that's just what it's called, your STR. You would have that profile and then inside the house. And then with those gloves, you would just test because it would just be like unknown male A, okay, would be inside the house. Then these gloves, when they were tested, it would be unknown male B, okay? Or it's going to be a match to your A, and then it's unknown male A gloves, unknown male A skin cells on a Coke can, whatever from inside the house. But that would be a match. So they know if the gloves that they tested outside and they found and tested them, if that matches DNA inside the house, it's a done deal. Like they know this. And you can do all of that before ever entering anything into CODIS.
Profile. And then they convert it to like that SNP profile. And then
so when you convert it to a SNP profile, that's when you take, so let's say that there isn't a match, like basically what they're saying that they want to be able to do here is we want to be able to upload it into CODIS to see if we can get a hit, to see if this person is a criminal, if they're already in the database. If it's in the database, voila, you have the name of the person. If it's not, that means that we want to go and use IGG, which is we want to take the STR that we have and we want to take out little snips of it. And that's why it's called SNPs. Like you're taking out snips from that profile to create this new profile, the SNP. And that's what you compare for in genetic genealogy. To put yourself into matches where it's getting you that you share significant markers with other, obviously when you're looking at it, and that's how they use it to figure out like who adoptees and all that stuff. Well, here they want to like use it to solve cases. Hey, we got to hit whoever DNA this is the cousin of this guy right here. Because that's how close it was or whatever. And then you would go beginning obituaries and seeing, okay, who's this person's cousin? Who lives in this area? That's how that all works.
Work from there. So you're the expert on this. I can only like visual. I can only understand stuff if I can see it. So talk to us about like what that actually means, because you get that profile and then how do they take an STR profile and then turn it into this SNP profile and then start building, family trees?
Yeah. So they actually, the STR profile in most kits, DNA typing kits right now is about 21 locations on someone's DNA. Mm-hmm. So that is something itself. When you're talking about being in court and you see the profile up on the screen and it's basically a bunch of peaks. So if you think of an EKG where there's a peak, somebody's heartbeat or whatever, that's essentially what it is. Mm-hmm. What they do is they actually take that sample. So the physical liquid sample is what gets sent for genealogy testing, for SNP testing.
Okay,
and so
not this STR profile.
Correct. It's not
okay. I said something wrong and somebody's yelling at me. They said they can't convert an STR profile to a SNP profile. Right.
Yeah, you have to take the pieces out of it. And that comes from doing it that's why you have to have, if you're going to be making a profile first and then submitting it to CODIS and doing all that, you have to have a significant amount because you're patching, you just can't, it's already used up. So you better have, you have to have enough to be able to even do this.
I'm sorry. I apologize. Please forgive me. I feel bad. I said the wrong thing.
It's okay. But
forgive me, Scorpio. So
there has been out there of this sheriff sending the samples to the lab in Florida, was that the sample could risk being consumed. And this is something that in cases where there's a limited amount of DNA.
Hear that? So listen to this again. It's about consumption.
Sheriff sending the samples to the lab in Florida, was that the sample could risk being consumed. And this is something that in cases where there's a limited amount of DNA, you may have to decide, and really, truly, you being a lab, are supposed to generate an STR profile, search it in CODIS, and then move it on to SNP testing. So there's a couple different kinds of SNP testing. There's a SNP profile that looks at like 700,000 locations on someone's DNA. Again, this STR profile is 21 locations. So there's 700,000 locations, or there's whole genome sequencing. So we started sequencing the human genome years ago, and they can do whole genome sequencing. It depends on the quality of the sample. It depends on how much there is.
They did that in the Kohlberger case.
Is for those two types of tests. There are some labs that have certain kits, meaning chemicals that they can use on the sample, and they can generate enough information to get a SNP profile to upload it to one of those databases, GEDmatch or Family Tree DNA.
And she's saying the right ones, GEDmatch and Family Tree, because those are the only ones that are law enforcement.
So they developed this other profile.
Mm-hmm.
And then
what I like to talk about is how long it takes to do it. Which a law enforcement kit is going to take 3 days just to upload it, because you have to, it's just paperwork and you have to get everything approved, and you're supposed to have, like, if you follow the intern policy. But if I was just like me, I can go upload it right away and just act like it's mine. And that means that you're doing it rogue. And then you're uploading it not as a law enforcement kit, you're uploading it as a personal consumer kit, which means that you're going to have 50,000 or 50 million kits to compare it to versus 2 million.
When I think of family trees, I think when we were kids for like the school project, and you're like, okay, mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, blah, blah, blah. So, but this is all computer generated, right? So like a genetic genealogist, they put the SNP profile into these genealogy websites like GEDmatch, as you said.
Yeah.
And
So
then
you take
what happens?
You take the SNP profile you take the SNP profile and you compare it to SNP profiles of known people. Just like in CODIS, you compare an STR profile to known STR profiles to see if they match. So what it's actually looking for is how similar the DNA is in one SNP profile to all of the profiles that are in the database. It's looking in terms of what's called centimorgans, and it's just a measurement of how much DNA they have in common. The higher centimorgan match between the evidence sample and the sample from
This is when I went to Cali and was visiting with Vargas. I was like, I want you to teach me everything about IGG. And she's just like, girl, I was like, I'm not playing. I got my books and I'm ready.
known person in the database, the higher centimorgan match means they're more closely related. So you could have 3,000 centimorgans, and that typically, I think, indicates a parent-child relationship. And the genealogists know, they have a chart actually that will show them if it's 100 centimorgans, this is the relationship probably to the target profile. So the known person in the database, target profile, it could be
that's how far you are away.
The third cousin or the second cousin twice removed or something like that, solely based on.
And then, so if you're like a stalker, like a Facebook stalker, you go and you take this person's name and you would use like social media databases. You would use obituaries. You would use, there's a couple other sites that you could use. And you're basically searching and seeing who everybody's related to.
On what that centimorgan match is. So if you get lucky and you put someone in the database and it's a 700 centimorgan match, it's probably a first cousin. So you think about your own family, you know who your first cousins are, right? So you know who your parents, siblings, and their kids are. Those are your first cousins. And so the genealogist can then start to take that target profile of the person in the database and build a family tree, looking at records, birth records, death records. Obituaries is one of the things that I know the genealogists really like they comb that and they figure out who was related to who and
obituaries is huge.
Who married who and all of that.
When it gets difficult is when you have bastards, when you have people that are changing their name because they're adopted. Obviously, adoptions are difficult. When it's really hard to do the African American trees because you have a lot of people that, I have one of my friends and she's got 5 kids, 5 dads. I'm like, damn, girl.
Like, how long does this take? Because I'm thinking in my head back to the Idaho case. And I know that the unknown male DNA profile, the homicides happened early morning hours of November 13th, 2022. The sheath was driven to the lab. It was swabbed. I forget the exact date. I want to say
16th.
Like a couple of days later. They figure out they have an unknown male DNA profile, and then it's not in CODIS, and they're like, we got to figure this out.
And that's what I was asking for, is how long, because you don't just like enter into CODIS and like beep, 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 match or no match. It has to cycle through everything. So I put everything together because I wanted this timeline. And that's why I was showing that Idaho was hiding the timeline and they were hiding receipts. Okay. And I was able to single-handedly prove that this timeline is not accurate. And I knew that they had went outside of what they were supposed to do. I just want to know, what does that truly mean? Like polishy, smallishy, are we violating anybody's rights here? Right. Or is it just, we violated our own policy?
The lab had a contract with Othram. The cops flew the DNA to, like, hand delivered to Othram. They toured the lab to make sure they felt like, or somebody did, like
Blaker and Talbot, and that was on 11/20 to 21.
I forget who it was. I'd have to go back and look at the reports. Maybe it was the DNA people. I don't remember. It could have been the cops too. And they toured the Othram lab. And I want to say this was like Thanksgiving weekend of 2022. Othram starts working on it immediately. And somewhere around November 10th, 11th, or 12th, or December, I'm sorry, 10th, 11th, or 12th, Othram is like, we're working on it and we're this far, we're working. But they couldn't go into every genealogy website. Like they have protocols, and their contract said they could only go into databases where law enforcement was allowed to go in. Like the terms of service, if the terms of service said, we won't share your information with law enforcement, or you can.
That's why they have these databases that are only 2 million. Okay. And there's actually databases that are 50 million when you use all the other ones. And so this is what I believe, if there was an FBI feud with the sheriff in this case, is that they're withholding evidence. To me, the only thing that I think that would have been withheld is, no, we're not giving you DNA and letting you go rogue with it.
Opt out of sharing your information with law enforcement. Othram can't do that. Like they can't just do that. So that the FBI, I guess, was like, this is taking too long. And so the FBI was like, give us that DNA, give us everything.
In my opinion, I don't even believe that the FBI said this is taking too long. The FBI, when they heard the numbers, because what they did is Othram had asked, hey, Vicky Gooch is a detective. And so Othram says, hey, go and get one of these brothers to put their DNA into the database, because it'll help us create what we need. And I'm over here thinking, how would they know that they need that family's branch to be in the system in order to complete the family tree? I said, well, because they already put it in all the other ones and saw what was needed. Well, that you get what I'm trying to say, like you reverse engineered it. So what I said that truly happened is, at the same time, I believe that they put in the unknown DNA that they had from this SNP, from that case. They did it simultaneously. They put it in all the databases that they weren't supposed to, and they put it in, hey, let's do it the right way, where we have to get, if we try to go rogue, we're supposed to be getting, and there's search warrants are supposed to be involved in this. And if they did it like how I think that they did it, then they know, because they have the results of the going rogue, and then they would see what they would have needed to be able to say, hey, if we can get that family to get their DNA in here, we're going to be able to connect this branch that we're missing. But this family, the person that they reached out to, told them to fuck off. And it was like, what I was trying to get to the bottom of is, what was the date of that? What was the date of that? When did that happen? Because then, and this is another thing that should surprise everybody, Othram's the best. Okay? They're the best. The FBI has in 2022, the FBI created a contract with Othram for like almost close to $500,000, where they were basically the FBI's lab to be able to use and create these SMP profiles. Why would the FBI take from the lab that they use and the people that they use? Why would they ever take a case from them? Like, that's their people, right? Because they were trying to back channel everything so that during the process of discovery, stuff wouldn't be able to, what they thought wouldn't be discoverable. Also, because of government funding, depending on who's paying for what and how it could be discovered. And Othram has a contract, though, also with Idaho State Police Lab, and they have to honor that contract, which is, we can't go in these other databases. So what I believe happened here is Idaho State was like, okay, hey, we're going to terminate with you and us in this case, send everything over to the FBI. Hint, hint, because there's no paper trail for this. We can't find it. They wouldn't turn it over. I believe that Othram never let it go. And it was just, I'm now taking orders from the FBI. But the FBI swears that, no, they gave it to us and we actually had our people go rogue. Any way you slice and dice it, it's all unethical, in my opinion. Then I think that's what we're dealing with in this case right here, right now.
Thing you've done. And so then they started doing what they do wherever they did it. And they violated the terms of service for other websites. Like they just went in because they said, this is an emergency. We have a quadruple homicide suspect. And then on the 19th of December, a little more than a month later, they call Moscow PD and they say, you need to look at Brian Koberger. They violated the terms of service for the websites. The judge later determined it wasn't a Fourth Amendment violation. So if the FBI is doing this, it could take like maybe 2 weeks. But also that person's DNA have to be in the databases, their profiles, and their family members in order to identify a suspect, if this is even the suspect?
Right. I mean, that you have to remember the evidence right now. I think going back to the evidence that's at the house, I think that's a mixture, and that makes it even more difficult to do genealogy testing. But yes.
That's what I think as well. 1000%.
I've said this all along, you're at the mercy of what's in the database, whether that's the CODIS database or the fingerprint database or the genealogy databases. You are at the mercy of that. So if, again, you get lucky and somebody has put their sample in and they've opted in to allow a law enforcement search, or not, if the law enforcement entity is using the database in a way like the FBI did, it just depends on who they are.
And just so we're clear, they're going to have to make a decision on how IGG is going to work, because it's not just a tip, you guys. When does anybody get to just, hey, give me a piece of evidence from your crime scene, give it to me, and I'll generate you a tip? That's just a chain of custody issue for me. And that's what it should be, a chain of custody issue. And that's why it should be inadmissible. Not because of the violations of Fourth of... Dude, we have a chain of custody issue here. It's not just a tip. And they want to say it's an investigative tool. That's fine. Then handle it all appropriately, because we need to make sure that the chain of custody, how do we know where actually that DNA that you eventually will have to make your profile truly came from that foreign object on that sheath versus his car handle? It's a chain of custody issue for me. Okay. Because I love what IGG can do. It's just, how can you say that we have policies, but we can just do whatever? That doesn't make sense to me. Because the question should be well, when you put this interim policy together, why did you make it so that you had to have a search warrant at this time, and then another one for this time, and then at this point, like the policy requires you to basically get like 3 search warrants at different stages of the IGG process. In Idaho 4, they didn't get any. And Jill Bolton said it best, and she said it was because it was a probable cause issue. Okay.
And their relatedness. So I know we've had situations where you put it in and it takes a year to develop the family tree. You have to think about.
I also think in the Idaho case, they were trying to hide that they were ever going to use that. They were never going to reveal that they used IGG. They didn't even put it in their probable cause statement to arrest Brian Koberger. They acted like they didn't even use it. And that was flat out the only thing that ever got them on Brian Koberger's path. So then they tried to lie and say, no, we got to him through the car and crazy shit. Stuff that was just not true. So they lied in a sense. And it's like, if we're going to use IGG, which I'm all for, we just have to announce that we're using IGG. That would be part of the probable cause. Why'd you arrest this man? Well, because we did this investigation and then we didn't get a hit in CODIS. So we did investigative genetic genealogy, and this is what came back. And that's what put us on him. And then we found out that he had, you know what I'm saying? Like, why aren't we just writing that out? Because that's what led us to him, right? We can't make up how we got to somebody, right? How do you make up a scenario? And then on the reverse side, people are like, well, it's kind of like, what if an informant just gives you a name? You know, if I call up the tip line and I say, hey, Bobby Smith did it, and I hung up, and Bobby Smith really did it, right? Go investigate Bobby Smith. Well, my thing is that you didn't take anything from the crime scene that's evidence and provide it to the person that called in to give you that tip. You used stuff that was at the crime scene to generate your tip. That's why it's not the same as a confidential motherfucking informant, you fucks. And nobody wants to ever have that debate with me. You're taking something from the crime scene to make your lead. That needs to be documented. That needs to be stated, and that needs to be put in probable cause. Period. But that's why they have this interim policy. Because otherwise one should ask themselves, well, why is there even a policy if it's just a tip and, hey, let's just take evidence out of crime scenes and go create fucking shit with a bunch of chemicals and blah, blah, blah. It needs to pass the credibility test.
About all of the different interactions that there are in families.
It's like me saying, hey, sheriff, why don't you hand me the discovery that you have to this point? Let me go through it and I'll tell you who you need to be interviewing, because these assholes don't like these. They're not smart, the people that you have on the case. But give me the discovery that you have to this point, and I'll start generating you leads. That's no different, in my opinion, than what IGG and how you want to just let it be rogue. That's hey, give me that stuff. I'll go through it and I'll start telling you who you need to, who you need to interview.
Over the years, there are divorces, remarries, there's adoptions, which can make things very complicated. There are children who don't know who their parents are over the years. And so if the relative in the database is really a distant relative, then you're not necessarily going to have as easy of a time building that family tree. So you are at the mercy of what's there and what's available. And it really does depend on, who is putting their sample in those databases and looking for their relatives. If law enforcement had access to 23andMe and Ancestry.com or whatever the other one is, the commercially available kits, if law enforcement had access to those databases, you'd solve every crime that there was ever DNA left behind, because there's millions of people in those databases, therefore making it much more likely you're going to come up with a relative.
And that's exactly what they did in the Brian Kohlberger case. And the only thing that I have an issue with in the Brian Kohlberger case is the lying. The lying. Also, then it starts calling into question everything. Because once you get the lead, once you get this tip, you guys, it's like in the John Benet Ramsey case. There could be a reason that there was touch DNA, but it's also on a foreign object that wasn't owned by any of the people that live in that home in the Idaho 4 case. So this object that was left behind, that's where you have the defense saying it was planted. And you have obviously the state saying, no, it wasn't. Brian was preparing to be a serial killer. He went to school. He left Pennsylvania. He had plans to, this is what he wanted to do. But then nothing was panning out on the returns of, okay, go search his car. Nothing's in it. His phone isn't there. And that's when you start questioning things like, then you look at the crime scene of the Idaho 4 case, and it's like all these experts who are well-known are saying that this has been cleaned up, that there's people being posed, they're staging, and that there's no way this crime happened in the time frame that they are saying. It's just who cleaned this up? Where's any of the footprints leaving out of the house? And so that stuff starts to make you wonder. And it's like,
that is close, and you can build a family tree easier.
So if this person doesn't have family members who are in the database, and I feel like you're probably just going to get lucky if somebody who's breaking into someone's house to kidnap an older woman, you're going to get really lucky if they just happen to have their DNA uploaded to a genetic genealogy website, which it just seems like unlikely to me. I'm just like, this could take this.
Those of you guys that are really big conspiracy theorists out there, you guys remember COVID, right? Remember all those tests? Hey, just take this swab and put it in, and then we're gonna, what did everybody do with all that DNA?
Could take 2 or 3 weeks, or it could take, as you're saying, a year.
Yeah, and so
we're all kind of related in some fashion, right?
Right. One of the things that they do when they do the testing for the SNP testing and that is they can tell someone's ancestry, right? So my ancestry, I know what it is, and if you compare me to people who live in Poland, because my ancestors are Polish, my DNA is going to look very similar to that. So in the Golden State Killer, they knew that he had family that had recently immigrated from, I think it was Italy or somewhere in Europe, and so they knew kind of the demographic makeup of the person that they were looking for. And then I'm pretty sure that is also the case where they had some semblance of a family tree, but they couldn't tell which side of the family it came from. And so they approached someone on one side of the family tree and said, would you please give us your sample so we can test it? Because that would help delineate which side of the family tree they were looking at and kind of help.
You need to get it in. The interim policy says you need to get a search warrant for that. Even if you go and ask them and they agree to do it, you still need to do the search warrant for it. Because you're supposed to be doing all of this a certain way when it's a government kit.
Help them to build it out.
And what I'm saying, what happened in the Brian Culver case is that they had already done it the rogue way. And they were trying to say, hey, okay, so if we can get this person to get their DNA in here, right, then it will automatically connect this to this. They saw where the holes were, and they wanted to go fill them. And people weren't playing ball. They told them to get fucked.
So that's not unheard of. I mean, we've had cases where we approach people that might be somewhere in the family tree to see if we can figure out kind of which node to go down in the family tree, especially, like I said, in the adoptions and stuff like that.
The sheriff denied yesterday, I think, that, he said he doesn't think that Nancy Guthrie was taken across the border into Mexico. I mean, they're doing whatever they're doing in this investigation, but I mean, that is a possibility. TMZ got that crazy note saying, from somebody saying, I know who it is. I saw her across the border. That could just be ridiculous trolling by some crazy person on the internet. But we did learn today, and I don't think it's unusual.
That this happened.
The FBI has been in touch with Mexican authorities.
All right. So do me a favor, and if there's somebody that I believe covers it fair on both sides and is open-minded 1000%, Anjanette Levy. So she always has my praises, and if you're ever looking for somebody to get information from, she does law and crimes. What is it? I think it's like the Tuesday Night Fix. She does like the crime fix. She was one of the main reporters in the Stephen Avery case out of Wisconsin. So she's covering one of the Dayton cases right now, and go Ohio, Anjanette. She's not afraid to ask the tough questions, and she doesn't buy the bullshit. But she's not going to be Sue. Like, she's not like, I'm this big conspiracy theorist or anything like that. She just, it's, hey, logical, not, hey, that's kind of wonky right there. She just doesn't eat it once you feed it. So I appreciate that. So she started her own YouTube channel as well. This is on her own show, and it's just under Anjanette Levy. That's where you guys can find it. What's up, Boston? How you doing? Good, great, awesome. So I want to show you guys something. You guys know I've been covering the Karen Read case since Jump, basically, right? And I wanted to show you. Here we go. Brian Higgins, Brian Higgins, Brian Higgins, Brian Higgins. Okay, check out this oxymoron right here. And people didn't catch it. Brian Higgins said that right there. Brian went on to say that once the bar was closing, Jen McCabe, Brian Albert's sister-in-law, invited everyone in their group of friends back to Brian Albert's house. At that time, Brian stated that he only knew that he himself was going back to Brian's home at 34 Fairview Road, but did not know who else was coming. Brian stated that he was driving his Jeep that evening, which is equipped with a snowplow. Brian said he was first to arrive back at 34 Fairview Road, and as a result, he cleaned out a space for Brian Albert and his wife Nicole to park the vehicle they were driving in their driveway. Subsequently, Brian stated that he parked his Jeep on the road along the property closest to the driveway on the left side, facing towards Chapman Street. At this time, there were no other vehicles in front of his Jeep. Brian said that once he went inside the home located at 34 Fairview Road, he observed Brian and Nicole Albert, the owners, Nicole's sister Jen and her husband, Matt McCabe, as well as Brian and Nicole's children who were home at the time of everyone's arrival back from Waterfall Bar. Wait, what? Hold up. Wait a minute. Now, this is absolutely mind-blowing. Ready? Now, either Yuri wasn't understanding, okay? Two things here. When you walked in, all of these people were inside that house. You couldn't have, it's physically impossible, because I have the data here for when Jennifer McCabe starts moving. I can tell you what time he couldn't have walked into that house until after a certain point in time, okay? In order for all of those people to be inside that house. More importantly, he makes a very, very interesting text at 12:20 when he texts John, with the, you coming here text message. Now, going back to this, prior to sending John a text message at 12:20 a.m., where are you? Prior to that, Brian remembers Jen being on the phone with John and giving him directions to the home. You guys, this is an absolute fucking lie. This is impossible. You want to know how I know this? Because of the timestamp of the phone call, where the phone is, and that call originates inside the vehicle of Jennifer's car. Okay. Then Jen's watch starts to move. The phone doesn't and stays inside the vehicle. Now, how can Brian Higgins possibly remember hearing anything about this? Well, two things are possible. He knows about it because he's actually with John. Okay. And he hears it from that side. Or he's putting himself inside the house earlier because he knows the story of what Jen McCabe has told. He's a cop. He listened to everybody's stories. Okay. And I said to myself, why is it so important that Brian Higgins puts himself, he's like basically alibying himself. He needs to put himself inside that house at 12:20. Or like, because he's saying that he was the first one to arrive, but then listen to what this means. If he doesn't walk in right away and he waits, it means he's waiting outside. Why are you sitting in the vehicle waiting outside? Well, what time does he actually leave Waterfall Bar? Do you know how long he would have been sitting in his vehicle in this Jeep spot where nobody says that this Jeep was ever there, out in front of the car? That means he's waiting for John O'Keefe to actually confront him before he goes inside. And that's why the text message actually happens when he's outside at 12:20. Like, are you coming here? Yo, you coming here? Where are you? You know, that text. And where he says he basically did this is right outside the house from his vehicle. That's a text message, and he's actually waiting for John. Now, going back, so prior to sending John a text message at 12:20 a.m., like, where are you? And that's actually not the language, but whatever. Brian remembers Jen being on the phone with John and giving him directions to the home. Brian described his positioning at the dining room table as having his back to the picture windows and not observing any activity, right? It said, Jen just arrived to Sisters at 12:18 in 50 seconds. Brian, so basically when Jen and Matt are inside that house, if that's when he's walking in, that has to be after 12:20, after he would have sent that text from outside. Now, he messes up again here. Brian Higgins says that Brian went on to say that the forecasted blizzard was moving into the region and that he was concerned about the plow operating properly and did not pay too much attention to the lawn area behind the snowbank. Oh my gosh. You guys, there was not a snowbank at 12:30 in the morning. So to go ahead and say the word snowbank, there is no snowbank, but you just subconsciously are saying things because the last time that you actually were there and dealing with everything, you created a snowbank with the plow truck. Now, I said, so what does this truly mean? What does this truly mean? Also, he says that he left between 12:30 and 1 o'clock. He also does not give the full account here when he says to, again, this is unless they didn't get it accurate, but he's saying that the last time basically that there was a text or anything. Brian went on to say that the next time that he and Karen texted was when she reached out. She reached out and said, hey, January 29th, 2022, and stated John died at 11:54. Well, yeah. Conveniently leaving that out. So, but when I saw that he was talking about that everybody was inside that home when he walked in, that's a huge problem. Then when he actually testifies, he says that he walks in and it was Brian Albert Jr. and he thought he was flanked by two females. And then basically he describes where he was standing or where he was at, and he would have been lapping it with Brian Albert Jr. Also, the amount of vehicles the next morning is, I can't believe that more people aren't talking about this. Where are all the cars? Where are all the Albert's cars? There should be how many cars in that driveway when the police arrive? When Jen, Carrie, Karen, when they arrive, where's all the vehicles in the driveway? There's only 2. Brian Albert alone has 2 vehicles. Nicole has one, and so we're missing a vehicle, at least one. That's funny. Nobody's talking about it. Just mind-blowing. They all testified that the garage did not hold any vehicles. That's not what they used the garage for. It was used, there was like storage in there, so that there was no cars in the garage. So where is this at least 3rd car, if not the 4th car, depending on if Brian Albert Jr. has a car? Yeah. Really big problems. Really big problems. So I think it's worth saying that Higgins waited outside of the house and was sitting in his Jeep waiting, because in order for him to walk in, based off of this story, and Jen and Matt are actually inside already. So what are you waiting outside for? You come in here. He was waiting. He wanted to talk to John before going inside because he wanted to tell John about, hey, dude, I got to come clean with this. I don't know what's going on, but your girl texted me. Your girl called me. Make me feel weird. I wrote her tonight and I said, well, like, are you telling him or am I telling him? Like, did you already do this? Like, it's, cause I'm not, like, this is weird. So there's that. This is also how I've always said and claimed that that John got into another vehicle because he was summoned into one. Hey, come here. Like, hey, really quick, I want to tell you something. I want to talk to you about something before we go in there. He jumps in. The big old Jeepy Jeep. Yeah. So there's that. Back over here, Nancy Guthrie. JLR investigates. What do you got, JLR? What's going on? We're going to close it out here.
This is where we are. Glove found on Campbell. 1 corner, 2 corners, 3 corners, 4 corners. All the neighborhoods. All pitch black. But in order to get out,
difficult.
Whether you go north, west, south, east, whatever, you are eventually going to hit one of these traffic lights. It's inevitable. And those traffic lights, even at night, bright.
This is what we've been saying for weeks. All right, guys. Join me.
When are we at, Mr.?
I'm sorry, on the 20, that would have been. Do you see what's depicted in Exhibit 66?
Yes.
Do you recognize it?
I do.
Do you see the? Did you have anything to drink while you were at 34 Fairview?
Well, when I got there, they didn't have any whiskey. I believe they might have put a beer or something else in front of me. And, I knew it was going to be a short night there because I just wasn't going to, I'm not a beer drinker.
You've indicated in a prior testimony that you've never been upstairs in Brian's house, correct?
Would you say upstairs, like, were you talking like second floor?
Correct.
Yes, no.
Okay. You testified to that in a prior hearing, is that right?
Yes.
In May of 2023.
Yes.
And you said specifically, quote, "I've never been upstairs." Is that
Yes.
right? All right. You understood when you gave that statement that you were under oath?
Yes.
You were telling the truth?
Yes.
Same oath that you took here today, correct?
Yes.
You indicated that the photos that you saw were on the first floor living room area. Is that right?
I believe that's where they were, yes.
So the only floor downstairs from the first floor would be what?
The basement.
And the only floor upstairs from the basement would be what?
The first floor.
So if someone were to describe going upstairs to look at the photos that you've described on the first floor, where would they have to be to go upstairs to look at those photos?
Are you saying on the first floor?
Correct. If the photos are on the first floor,
yeah,
and someone said, "We went upstairs to look at those photos," where would they have to be?
I guess upstairs.
The people would have to be upstairs?
Well, the photos would be upstairs. Is that what you're saying?
Where are the people? Where would the people have to be to go upstairs to the living room to look at the photos?
I'm not understanding the question.
If the photos are on the first floor, Mr. Higgins,
yes,
the only floor beneath it is the basement.
Okay.
And someone says, "We went upstairs to look at the photos," where would they have to be?
Well, who said they went upstairs?
All right, so Mr. Jackson, you can save this for argument. Next question, please.
If Brian Albert said you went upstairs to look at the photos, where would you have to be?
Objection.
Sustain.
Now, Brian Albert had a weight room someplace in the house, right?
Yes.
And a gym.
I guess he called it a home gym.
Where was that?
In the basement.
Had you ever been down to that basement before?
Yes, one time.
When was that?
That was during the twins' graduation party. Summertime.
Summertime before?
Summertime before, yes.
Summer of 2021?
Maybe.
So Brian Albert testified that you've never been in the basement. That would not be accurate.
Objection.
Sustain.
Now, you do recall giving testimony at another proceeding on June 1st, 2023, correct?
Yes.
And of course, the same thing applied. You were under oath. Is that right?
Yes.
You knew that it was a crime to lie under oath?
Yes.
In that proceeding? During the course of that proceeding, you were asked who was in the house and who you saw come into the house, correct?
Yes.
And during the course of that testimony, you admitted that you observed a tall, dark-haired male enter the Albert house that night, correct?
I believe that was in reference to ask it to somebody's brother in a pickup. I don't know if that was during.
All I'm asking you, Mr. Higgins, is did you say that? Did you say a tall, dark-haired male entered the house while you were there?
I said they might have.
Did you say they might have?
Yes. And that was in reference to somebody's brother.
Yes.
I believe you did. Question, so you saw someone else come? Answer, somebody else. Yes, correct?
Yes, but I also said that I wasn't paying attention.
I realize that you want to explain your answer. I've asked you a very simple question. Was that your testimony in front of another proceeding?
Yes, it was.
At another proceeding, which you were under oath?
Yes, it was.
Okay. You also said that you only remember seeing that person come in briefly. And it looked like he was having a conversation with the two girls, briefly, correct?
Yes.
You were asked how long was the person in there roughly, and you said it was quick. Less than a couple of minutes. I mean, it was quick, correct?
Yes.
And then you were asked what he looked like, and you said, I feel like they were a little bit taller. They had dark hair, correct?
Yes.
So you testified that a tall, dark-haired male came into the house, at least briefly, in your testimony, correct?
Yes.
Approximately when in the timeline of events did that unidentified male enter the residence?
I don't know the time frame. It would have been while I was there.
When you gave your statement to the Massachusetts State Police, you didn't tell them about a tall, dark-haired male coming into the residence at 34 Fairview, did you, on February 3rd?
I don't recall.
You were specifically asked by ADA Lally, when you testified before the state court grand jury on April 28th, 2022, who else was present, correct?
Yes.
And you never mentioned a tall, dark-haired male coming into the house, did you?
No.
However, on June 1st, 2023, at this other proceeding, you were specifically instructed at the start of your testimony that it was a crime to give materially false statements in that proceeding, correct?
Yes.
And that's the proceeding in which you admitted that there was a tall, dark-haired male who came in the house. Yes or no? Yes or no? It was that proceeding.
Can you answer that, yes or no?
No, I can't, Your Honor.
Next question, Mr. Jackson.
The quotations or the quotes that I just read you and that you just looked at,
yes,
that was from the June 1, 2023 hearing, wasn't it?
I don't know.
At the Albert residence in total, from the time you got there to the time you left.
Maybe like a half hour, less than an hour.
And what time did you leave? Say 12:30, you said?
I think I said between 12:30 and 1 a.m.
And you indicated that you pretty much didn't say goodbye to anybody, right?
At the house?
Correct.
I just kind of left. I said, see you later. Turn around, left.
As a matter of fact, at that same hearing that we just looked at, Your statement was, I made a beeline out of there, correct?
I don't know if that's the verbiage I used, but I left
Why the rush? Why did you leave so quick?
because it was a long day and I just wanted to go home.
Except you didn't go home, did you?
No, I went back to Canton PD.
Right. So it wasn't such a long day that you actually drove home. You went back to the Canton Police Department at 1 or 1:30 in the morning, correct?
To move vehicles, correct.
Well, let's talk about you leaving. You walked out the side breezeway door, correct?
Yes.
You walked down the driveway.
Yes.
There's nothing obstructing your view at that point of the lawn to your right, correct?
I didn't look over there, but I would not think so.
Between you and the flagpole, in other words, it wasn't some mound of dirt, something obstructing your view. You could see straight across if you wanted to, correct?
If I wanted to, yes.
It's just basically a flat, grassy lawn with a light dusting of white powder snow on it, right?
I don't know how much snow was, but there was snow there.
Yeah, you indicated that it wasn't even enough to stick to the pavement at that point.
Well, that's when I got there. Yes.
Well, you only stayed less than an hour, right?
That's correct.
So I'm assuming it didn't dump 3 feet in an hour, correct?
I think we can both agree that it's not free. It wouldn't have been 3 feet now.
Right. So it would have been a light dusting of snow.
More snow than there was there.
How far would you say it was from the edge of the driveway over to your Jeep?
From where the back of my Jeep was parked?
Correct.
Maybe a foot or two, or it could have been even with the edge of the driveway.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's probably a bad question on my part. When you left the house, as you started to walk down the driveway toward your Jeep, how long of a walk is that? Across the yards, down the driveway to get to your Jeep?
Short.
30 feet?
Maybe.
Okay. During the course of you walking out the door, heading to your Jeep, you didn't see anything out of the ordinary in the yard, correct?
No.
You certainly didn't see a body in the yard.
Of course not.
Now, you get in your car, and it's facing directly toward the flagpole, correct?
It's facing directly up the street. Flagpole would be off to the 1 o'clock.
Right. So just a few degrees off to the right, the flagpole is, correct?
It's off to the right.
Just a few degrees.
I don't know how many degrees, but it's off to the right.
Well, you just said 1 o'clock. You're a former military guy, right?
I am.
Okay. 1 o'clock means 1 o'clock on watch. 12 o'clock is due north, or right in front of you. 1 o'clock is just a few degrees to the right, correct? That's what you meant.
At the 1 o'clock, yes.
Okay. So you didn't see a body when you got in your Jeep.
No, I did not.
Then you turned the engine on, correct?
And the wipers, yes.
And the lights.
Yes.
And the lights lit up everything in front of you, correct?
Yes.
Still didn't see a body, did you?
No, I did not.
Sitting in the driver's seat, you put the car in gear and you begin to roll forward, right?
Yes.
But there was a plow on the ground that scraped for a foot, right?
Yes.
So you picked it back up,
Yes.
looked out the windshield to make sure the plow was situated, and continued to roll forward, correct?
I knew it was up when I continued to drive.
And as you continue to drive, you're looking ahead of you and probably to your left to make sure that there's no oncoming cars, right?
Well, I knew there was no oncoming cars. I was just driving forward.
Right. So your focus is directly in front of you.
On the road, yes.
And everything in your peripheral vision is right in front of you as well, correct?
Yes.
Nothing obstructing your view.
I mean, other than snow on the car.
Nothing obstructing your view outside toward the lawn. Wasn't another car parked there.
No, I didn't. There was no vehicles in front of me, no.
It was the roadway was relatively empty.
There was no cars.
And you didn't see a body then either, did you?
I did not.
And as you drive past that flagpole with everything lit up and everything in your peripheral vision, told me I didn't do anything wrong in this, end quote. That was your statement.
Objection.
Prior hearing, correct?
So I'm going to strike the end.
Your Honor, may I?
Yes.
Came in.
Under oath in June of 2023.
I do.
And you said, if that's what Chief Berkowitz told me, I didn't do anything wrong in this, correct?
That was a statement I made, yes.
You drove by.
I didn't do anything with the information.
Did you call Brian Albert?
No, Brian Albert.
Case of the issues surrounding this case with those folks.
I did discuss things when I went back to the house, yes.
And that was before you met with Trooper Proctor and Trooper Buchanan, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
The interview was not at the police station.
It was not, no.
By the time you interviewed with Trooper Proctor, you had already had numerous conversations with Brian Albert. Is that safe to say?
Well, the interview was with both Trooper Proctor, Sergeant Buchanan, and of course I've talked to Brian Albert because of what took place.
That was a yes or no question.
Yeah, of course I've talked to him, yes.
Okay, and the answer is yes, right? Do we agree?
The answer is yes.
Thank you. By the time you spoke with Trooper Proctor and Trooper Buchanan, you'd already had numerous conversations with Chief Berkowitz, correct?
Yes.
You'd already had numerous conversations with Kevin Albert.
Yes.
You'd already had this meeting with the Alberts and the McCabe.
How about Paul Gallagher? Paul Gallagher, one of his really close DEA buddies.
It's over at 34 Fairview, is that right?
I went to the house.
And discussed this case, as you earlier described in your testimony.
I discussed what we were trying to figure out what happened.
You discussed this case, Mr. Higgins.
Well, at that point, it wasn't a case.
Okay, I'm not parsing words about what a case is versus a matter versus an issue. You understood my question, didn't you?
Yes.
Is there a reason you don't want to answer that question?
I don't have a problem.
Objection, Your Honor.
No. Is there a reason? A bunch of things.
Well, I feel you're trying to make it sound like something it wasn't.
I'm not trying to make it sound like anything, sir. I'm asking the question. Had you discussed this case or the issues surrounding this case with those folks?
I did discuss things when I went back to the house, yes.
And that was before you met with Trooper Proctor and Trooper Buchanan?
Yes, that's correct.
You had already spent an enormous amount of time at Canton PD. We've just gone through those records. Is that right?
I have been at Canton PD, yes.
And you had been able to talk to, you had access at least. You're aware that there's video surveillance feeds in the Sallyport garage, correct?
That's correct, yes. Around the building.
Were you in the Sallyport at 5:36 when the car was delivered?
I don't have any recollection of that, no.
It's one thing to say I don't remember. It's another thing to say, no, I was not there.
I don't remember being there, no.
Is it possible that you could have been there when that car was delivered?
I don't believe I was, no.
You don't believe you were?
I don't believe I was, no.
You're aware that the video surveillance feed from the Sallyport garage at around 5:36, the precise time when the car was delivered, is missing, right?
Objection.
Sustained.
Mayor?
Yes.
Same record. It looks an awful lot like you're gleaning information from Canton PD. Were you doing that?
Objection.
So I sustain the objection in that form. You can ask one part of that question.
Sure. Were you getting any information from Canton PD?
No, I wasn't.
Did you provide any information to Brian Albert
No, I did not.
based on any conversations or conduct at Canton PD?
No.
Mayor Perk?
Yes.
But you were, in fact, on the phone with all of those interested parties throughout the day. You'll agree.
I was.
Answer that.
Okay,
Is
yes,
there
Your
an
Honor.
objection? You can-
Yes, they're friends, and I was on the phone with them, yes.
And sir, you were not on duty that day, correct?
No,
You are not a Canton police officer, correct?
that's correct.
You are not assigned to this investigation in any formal capacity. Right. It would be other individuals in Canton PD. I mean, this is the entire log for 129, right?
Okay, but what all I'm saying is that just my name is next to that. I don't see any other names, so.
Right.
Okay.
So on 129, 2022, I'm just trying to orient you. At 127 and 52 seconds,
I see it.
access granted Brian Higgins, rear entry to secure corridor, rear entry to secure corridor, correct?
Yes,
All right, so that appears to be what the log entry or the key swipe entry looks like when it's logged, correct?
yes.
If you look at page 2967, I'm sorry, I said it backwards, 2976.
Okay.
Take a look at
So you said
time.
2976?
That's Bates page 2976. That's the bottom right hand.
I see it, yes.
Look at the time entry for 9:23 and 39 seconds.
$923 and what?
39
And that's on 2976?
should be.
Give me the time again, please.
Why don't we do it this way? May I approach?
Yes.
9:23:39. That shows that you were granted access to the Sallyport to front exit, front entry to Sallyport, correct?
Yes,
There's only one Sallyport at Canton PD, correct?
yes, and there's a door on each side of the Sallyport.
Two
Yes.
bay doors, right?
Two bay doors on each side,
And
yes.
then there's a
Pass-through,
personal pass-through door as well.
yes.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
I want to try to speed this up just a bit because it's small print, reverse chronological order. On page 2976, there's also an entry, same page, should be right above that, 9:23:50, showing that you were granted access from booking to Sallyport as well, correct? Above. 6 entries up. You'll look for time 9:23 and 50 seconds.
I see. Yes,
All right. And that shows that you were granted access to the Sallyport and then from Sallyport to booking, correct?
it says booking to Sallyport, Sallyport to booking.
Okay, so that's a key swipe. Giving you an entry into the Sallyport, from booking, or from booking into Sallyport. That you were granted access booking to Sallyport and Sallyport to booking, meaning swipe the key card in the door going from booking to Sallyport.
Yes,
Okay. I don't want to belabor this because we could get bogged down into it all day long. Would you have any quarrel if those logs indicated that you were moving in and around Canton PD at 9:28, 9:53, 9:53, 9:54, 9:54, 11:40, etc.? We can look at every one of them if you want to.
Well,
that doesn't refresh your recollection.
it would not be uncommon for me to move around Canton PD at various times or dates.
Right.
Middle of,
Or 9:54, 11:40, etc. We can look at every one of them if you want to.
Well,
that doesn't refresh your recollection.
it would.
At 9:28, 9:53, 9:53, 9:54, 9:54, 11:40, etc. We can look at every one of them if you want to.
Well,
that doesn't refresh your recollection.
It would not be uncommon for me to move around Canton PD at various times or dates.
Right.
Middle of the night, during the day. But just because I swiped in somewhere and then you have a swipe at the end of the day, doesn't mean I was there the whole day. I could have left, I could have come back, and I truly don't have a recollection, but I'm pretty sure I wasn't there all day.
Fair enough. If we moved from 11:40 to 11:44, 11:45, 11:47, 11:51, 11:52, and then jump to 2:05, would that be an explanation where you might have gone out for lunch, 11:52?
Could have.
Okay, come back. If
Yes.
there's a 2:05 and 56 entry, then obviously you're there, right?
If the card was swiped, I was there.
I mean, you're not giving that card to anybody else.
No, I'm not.
No way, right? Let's just look at 2905 because I want you to be comfortable. Page 2905, and let's look at that 2:05 and 56 entry.
I'm at 2905.
Basically middle of the page. May I approach? This might be a little easier. Highlighted it for you.
Good finished writing up his report at 1:39-ish. 1:45 to...
I see it.
Okay. So that would indicate that you were back at Canton PD at least 2:05:56, and you were granted access Sallyport to front door, correct?
That's what it says, yes.
Okay. At 3:10 p.m., you called Brian Albert's brother, Kevin Albert, correct?
I don't know. It's possible.
Okay.
I mean, I don't remember every phone call I made that day.
Understood. Do you remember talking to Kevin Albert?
I don't.
So you don't remember what you discussed with him?
No.
Do you remember that it was a 12-minute phone call?
No, I don't remember having any phone call, but I'm sure it's possible that we spoke.
Do you remember Kevin Albert providing you any information about the ongoing investigation into John O'Keefe's death?
No.
Did you ask him about additional information concerning John O'Keefe's death?
No.
Were you providing details back to Brian Albert with Kevin Albert? You then called Brian Albert.
It's possible.
So I think the question was, do you remember? Do you remember that?
Your Honor, there was a lot of phone calls made that day. I don't have a recollection. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Calls you at 3:24, correct?
Yes.
And you two speak for 6 minutes. Is that right?
6 minutes, 5 seconds. Yes.
May I approach?
Yes.
Does that refresh your recollection that you made those calls?
I'm based on the record. Yes.
Was that just a coincidence that you were talking to Brian Albert and Kevin Albert within minutes of one another?
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot going on that day. People were upset. And I don't remember the phone calls. I don't deny making the phone calls. I just don't remember them.
Do you remember providing information that you were learning from Kevin Albert to Brian Albert?
Absolutely not.
Two additional phone calls that you had with Chief Berkowitz and then Brian Albert again, correct?
Yes.
Two additional phone calls. If you look just below those phone calls to Kevin Albert and Brian Albert, two additional phone calls that you had with Chief Berkowitz and then Brian Albert again, correct?
Yes.
Mr. Higgins, it looks an awful lot like you're gleaning information from Canton PD. Were you doing that?
Objection.
So I sustain the objection in that form. You can ask one part of that question.
Sure. Were you getting any information from Canton PD?
No, I wasn't.
Did you provide any information to Brian Albert
No, I did not.
based on any conversations or conduct at Canton PD?
No.
May I approach?
Yes.
Parties throughout the day, you'll agree.
Yes.
And sir, you were not on duty that day, correct?
No.
You are not a Canton police officer, correct?
That's correct.
You were not assigned to this investigation in any formal capacity, were you?
Okay.
First entry is at 3:57 and 54 seconds.
3:57 and 54 seconds. I see it.
Brian Higgins booking to Sallyport, correct?
Communication to pedestrian Sallyport.
It probably is going to be just below it because it's reversed.
You said 3:57:54, correct?
Correct.
That's what.
Look at 6 entries below at 3:57:36.
3:57:36. I see it. Access granted. Brian Higgins booking to Sallyport. Sallyport to booking.
Then there's one more on page 2885. Look for 40747.
I have it. Access granted. Brian Higgins, booking to Sallyport, booking to Sallyport.
And there's no record in that document of you exiting, correct? That's just booking to Sallyport.
Yes. I don't, yeah, there's no record. I don't know if it records you going up. That's fine.
There's no record. SUV was delivered to that Sallyport, correct?
No, I'm not aware of that.
Reed's SUV was delivered to that Sallyport, correct?
No, I'm not aware of that.
You're aware that her car ended up in that Sallyport where you were at 5:36.
I'm aware her car ended up there, yes.
Are you aware that there was other evidence that was also being held in the Sallyport?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you see any other evidence in the Sallyport related to this case?
No.
Did you see a bag, grocery bag with 6 solo cups there?
Objection.
Did you see anything that seemed out of the ordinary there?
All I would do is use that as a cut through. I did not see any.
Are you aware that at 5, well, let me ask you this. You and Chief Berkowitz were moving in and through, at least in some parts of the day, in and through Canton PD together, correct?
At some points we might have been together. I'm not, I mean, we weren't together all day.
Matter of fact, he was also in the Sallyport around the same time you were, correct?
I don't recall that, no.
But the records would reflect that, right? The records that are in front of you?
Objection.
Sustained. You were in the Sallyport the last time you're logged into the Sallyport. It's 4:07. Do you remember seeing Chief Berkowitz at Sallyport at 4:14?
No, and if that says that I'm logged, that could be me cutting
Mr.
through.
Higgins, all I'm asking you, I'm not asking what you did. I'm asking where you were.
I don't know where I was at that specific time.
Well, you walked into the Sallyport. We know that.
If I walked in, I
Correct?
cutting through, yes.
Right. Was Chief Berkowitz in the Sallyport at 4:14?
Not that I recall, no.
Was he there at 4:30?
I don't remember ever seeing him in the Sallyport, no.
Was he there at 4:33?
I don't remember ever seeing Chief Berkowitz in the Sallyport.
At 4:50?
Objection.
Sustained. Let's move through this, please.
Finally, was he there at 5:36 and 37 seconds at the same time Karen Reed's vehicle was delivered?
I don't remember.
Do you remember Chief Berkowitz, or were you with Chief Berkowitz when he made a call to the front desk?
No, I don't remember anything like that, no.
Do you remember Chief Berkowitz calling the front desk at 5:42 and saying, shut the doors?
Objection.
Sustained.
Do you remember any kind of call shutting the barracks, meaning shutting the Sallyport?
Objection.
Do you remember that?
I don't remember anything like that, Your Honor.
Okay, next question.
You didn't leave Canton PD until close to 6 p.m., isn't that right?
I don't know what time I left.
Could it have been 5:50, 6 o'clock?
I don't recall what time I left.
You're aware that there's video surveillance feeds in the Sallyport garage, correct?
That's correct, yes. Around the building.
Were you in the Sallyport at 5:36 when the car was delivered?
I don't have any recollection of that, no.
It's one thing to say I don't remember. It's another thing to say, no, I was not there.
I don't remember being there, no.
Is it possible that you could have been there when that car was delivered?
I don't believe I was, no.
You don't believe you were?
I don't believe I was, no.
You're aware that the video surveillance feed from the Sallyport garage at or around 5:36, the precise time when the car was delivered, is missing, right?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you receive a flurry of phone calls from Brian Albert and Chief Berkowitz indicating that some taillight pieces or a taillight piece had been recovered at 34 Fairview later that evening?
Objection.
Did you receive a call at all, without telling me what the conversation consisted of, around 6:12 p.m. from Brian Albert?
I don't know what day you're referring to.
The 29th.
No, I don't remember any phone calls like that.
Do you remember 3 minutes later getting another call from Chief Berkowitz at 6:16 p.m. that lasted about 5 minutes and 15 seconds?
No.
Fair approach?
Yes.
You look at the recollection. 6:12 and 6:16.
Okay, I see those, yes.
There was a call at 6:12 that that Brian Albert made to you for a duration of 1 minute and 7 seconds, correct?
Yes.
And right after that, there was a call from Chief Berkowitz to you at 6:16. It lasted 5 minutes and 15 seconds, correct?
Yes.
May I approach?
Yes.
Are they telling you that taillight pieces had been found at the location?
Objection.
Sustained.
Your Honor, may we approach briefly?
Okay.
No, that's not what that was in reference to. I might have been. I don't recall.
Of those conversations at 6:12 and 6:16.
I don't know.
Isn't it true that you were asked about those phone calls at another hearing?
I might have been. I don't recall.
And did you testify at the other hearing that, in fact, what was discussed was the substance of the taillights being found at the location?
No, that's not what that was in reference to.
Were you being provided information from your friend, Chief Berkowitz, about the progress of the investigation?
No.
Were you providing your friend, Brian Albert, information about the progress of the investigation or what you perceived it to be?
No, I didn't have any information on the investigation.
May I have just a moment, Your Honor?
Sure.
Until 5 days later, correct? You were not interviewed about this case in any formal capacity until 5 days later, correct?
That sounds about right. Days after, yes.
I'm sorry, I said February 1st, maybe it's February 3rd.
I don't know the date, but we were into February.
Where did that interview take place?
Sharon, Mass.
I'm sorry?
Sharon, Mass.
At what location?
Sorry?
What location?
Objection.
I'll see counsel very quickly at sidebar.
Yes. Okay. The interview was not at the police station.
It was not, no.
By the time you interviewed with Trooper Proctor, you had already had numerous conversations with Brian Albert. Is that safe to say?
Well, the interview was with both Trooper Proctor, Sergeant Buchanan.
You had already had numerous conversations with Chief Berkowitz, correct?
Yes.
You had already had numerous.
It's probable, but I felt like they were being accusatory, and I was trying to explain how the phone calls came in. I've had time to reflect about it after that, since that testimony, and both that information about the taillight that was found was provided by each person. I didn't provide any information to anybody.
Why'd you say that?
May I?
Yes.
Thank you. Does that refresh your recollection to what your testimony was under oath in June of 2023?
I do.
And you said, if that's what Chief Berkowitz told me, if I listen, I didn't do anything wrong in this, correct?
That was a statement I made, yes.
Why did you say, listen, I didn't do anything wrong in this?
Objection.
Why'd you say that?
Because I felt they were being accusatory, and I was trying to explain what was going on. And what I had said over that was, I believe what I said, something to the effect, I can't be 100% positive. And then when I went on to say, it's probable. But I felt like they were being accusatory, and I was trying to explain how the phone calls came in. I've had time to reflect about it after that, since that testimony. And both that information about the taillight that was found was provided by each person. I didn't provide any information to anybody.
Next question.
Thank you. You said, look, I didn't do anything wrong in this because it looks like you and Ken Berkowitz were colluding to provide information to Brian Albert, correct?
Objection.
Is that correct?
Absolutely not correct. That's
And
wrong.
you knew that was going to look like collusion, which is why you said, look, I didn't do anything wrong in this.
Objection.
Objection sustained.
Mr. Higgins, if you wanted to get rid of, and you've dealt with cell phones and electronic devices in your career many, many times, correct?
Over my career, yes.
You've probably even written search warrants for them, things of that nature, right?
Yes.
If you wanted to destroy evidence on your cell phone, what kind of steps might you take to do that?
Objection.
If you wanted to just get rid of information on your cell phone that would be unrecoverable, what steps might you take?
Objection.
Do you know how to get rid of information on your cell phone?
Objection.
That's a lie. You can answer that.
Do I know how to get rid of information? I mean, I think there's different ways. You could wipe your phone.
Anything else?
You could wipe your phone.
Good.
Factory reset.
Factory reset might be one, wiping your phone, taking the SIM card out.
I don't know that the SIM card is going to take information that's on the phone out.
So that might be one avenue. You could break the SIM card in half or snap it.
It could, yes.
You know, the SIM card stores an enormous amount of data that the phone just break, right?
No, I don't know that.
Okay. You could also, if you take the SIM card out, you just get rid of the phone somehow, right? Just destroy it.
Yes.
Might even consult with some kind of an expert to help learn how to permanently erase things from a phone, like a forensics expert, for instance.
Objection.
Sustained. On Saturday, January 29th, you spent much of the morning rather, at Brian Albert's house, and then the rest of the day variously at Kenton PD. You would agree with that, correct?
No, you said I spent much of the morning at Brian Albert's house?
Correct. In other words, you went over there at whatever it was, 7:50, 8 o'clock, something like that, and then until about 9 o'clock.
No, I got over there around 7 o'clock, and I was there less than an hour. I wasn't there most of the day.
Okay.
I never went back there.
So you
Got
spent
it.
time at Brian Albert's.
7 a.m. No fucking way. 7 a.m. 7 a.m. Yes, got it. Woo! Okay. Need to take a look at that shit right here. Seven a.m. We have dash cam at 7 a.m.
House, then much of the rest of the day at Kenton PD, correct?
Yes.
And then the
How'd you get there at 7 a.m.? It's interesting that that's right when Maddie McCabe pulls into the driveway at 7 a.m.
very next day, that Sunday, you called a friend of yours, a guy named Matt Kelch, didn't you?
Yeah, he's my best friend.
And
Yes.
he's a special agent with the FBI, isn't he?
No, he's not.
Was he then?
He's never been a special agent with FBI. He's a special agent with ATF.
My mistake. My
ATF.
mistake. I thought he was with the FBI.
Even
He's
better.
a federal special agent.
He's a coworker of mine. Yes.
Which makes him a federal special agent, right?
An ATF agent. Yes.
And does he work for or have access to the Regional Computer Forensics Lab?
Yes, he works over there.
Okay, that's the FBI Regional Forensics.
Correctly.
You and me both. So you reflected it correctly. So Matt Kelch is an ATF agent who works at the Regional. You spoke to him about the death of John O'Keefe, did you not?
Yes.
And you asked him for a personal favor, sort of off the books, correct?
Objection.
In that form, I'll sustain it.
Did you ask him for a personal favor?
No.
Did you ask him to show you or consult with you how to pull things off of your phone that you decide to get off your phone?
I asked him how I could pull text strings off my cellular telephone for the purpose of providing them to law enforcement.
This was not in connection with any case that he was working, correct?
That's correct.
It was not in connection with any case you were working, correct?
Objection.
Objection sustained, but you already answered. I'll strike that answer.
But you asked your friend to utilize his resources to teach you.
I was just going to ask you to identify yourself.
Sure, my name is William Connolly, spelled CONNOLLY.
All right.
May I, Your Honor?
Yes.
The witness has indicated that he utilized federal resources for personal gain. The specifics of that testimony have been as follows. He indicated that he contacted Matt Kelch, a federal agent. He indicated that he utilized a federal facility that was, he called it Agent Kelch, utilized stations with which
That objection sustained.
Honor, as to
for an
reading.
employee,
Go ahead and finish the question.
for an employee, an employee has a duty to preserve and conserve government property and shall not use such property or allow its use for other than authorized purposes. Were you aware of that federal regulation?
That objection sustained.
Sir, notwithstanding those regulations, you utilized the services of Matt Kelch as a friend and a colleague, but utilizing federal resources to pull information off your phone, correct?
Objection.
Sustained as to that form.
In fact, you were successful in getting information off your phone, which is the text that you turn over to the Commonwealth, correct?
Objection.
In that form, you're almost there, Mr. Jackson. That form was improper.
The information that was ultimately pulled off your phone was the information that you selected and you and Matt Kelch worked together to get off your phone, correct?
Objection.
Is that correct?
No, Your Honor, if I could explain.
Sure.
He walked me through on how I could pull the text string with John O'Keefe and the defendant. He walked me through the process, how to use the machine.
And then you did that.
I did do that. That's
And
correct.
That's what you turned over to the police.
That's correct.
And any other information would still be on your phone ending in 5421, correct?
Well, that information stayed on my phone. I just took those strings off and provided them to the Mass State Police.
Okay, so where's your phone?
I do not have that phone anymore.
You've destroyed that phone, haven't you?
No, I threw the phone away.
Well, that's destroying the phone, isn't it?
I had every right to do that.
I didn't ask you about your rights. I asked you what you did.
Objection.
Sustained.
You destroyed the phone by removing the SIM card. Correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you do that? Did you pull the SIM card out?
Objection.
Did you pull the SIM card out of your phone?
Your Honor, to the best of my recollection, if I did take the SIM card out, I would have when I threw it away, if I was going to take it out, I would break it or cut it. But I did not wipe the phone. I did not take anything else off it. But if I was going to throw the phone away, that's what I would have done.
Okay.
You know, as an ATF agent with electronic data experience, when you pull the SIM card out and break it, and then throw the phone away and the SIM card away, you don't need to wipe the phone.
Objection.
Sustained.
This was for location data, by the way, guys. He did this for location data. The calls, he knew that they were going to be able to always get his CDRs. This had to do with location data, in my opinion, that he had to get rid of the phone and the SIM. It was location data. Location.
Jackson, that's it.
Your Honor,
One more question.
I can do this in 30 seconds. I think. You were aware that that there was a court order that you not alter, delete, or destroy, or in any way manipulate your phone or the electronic data associated with it, correct?
Objection.
As to what date?
As of September 30th, 2022.
Objection. I don't believe that's what the court order was. I think it's
Your Honor, I can make a quick offer of proof. That's exactly what it was that he was notified.
Were you aware of that? Was that your understanding?
What's the question exactly, Your Honor? I'm sorry.
That's the question again.
Sure. Were you served with a copy of a notice on September 30th, 2022, that you not alter or destroy or manipulate anything on your phone on September 30th?
I was served an order. Yes, that's correct.
And isn't it true in another hearing, you explained that on September 29th, the day before you claimed you got that notice, you changed phone carriers and changed phone numbers?
And I maintained the phone.
Until you didn't, when you destroyed it a month later by pulling the SIM card out and throwing it away, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you do that in October? Did you destroy that phone?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you pull the SIM card out of your phone, Mr. Higgins?
Did you?
It's possible that I did. I believe that's how I've testified. Yes.
You testified.
It's possible that if I took it out, that it was either cut or broken.
It's not just possible.
So that.
And that would have been after the date the order was already denied.
Mr. Higgins, I have one question left. One question. Did you, Mr. Lowley's already standing. I haven't even started.
Have a seat, Mr. Lally. Go ahead. Last question, Mr. Jackson.
Quiet, please. Quiet.
I have a seat.
Mr. Higgins, very simply, and then we're done. Did you remove the SIM card for that phone, drive onto a military base, throw the SIM card in one dumpster and the phone in a different dumpster?
That is not correct.
Did you testify?
That was your one question, Mr. Jackson. All right, folks, that's it.
Whoa, that is not what I did.
We're creepers that were seen on surveillance in Tucson, which is to the south.
Wow. I'm putting together a timeline. You guys are just watching. I had to add a couple things to the timeline. Come on. Let's take a look. I want to see something at
You got one? Oh.
Okay, take a look. Back up. Okay, gotta make this bigger. I got it. Fuck yes. Okay. Carrie Roberts is going to leave. Right. There. That's Carrie Roberts. Now watch where the yellow tape is blowing. Okay. You're going to see a person. And I'll pause it. Right. We have 1, 2, 3. I have 4 people standing in this little huddle to the right. Okay. There's a 5th person that walks up. Well, one person walks away from the little huddle, and a person is walking towards the huddle. As that's happening, okay, you guys check this out. Walk away. No, over there on your left, there's a person. Now look at the flickering of the yellow. You see that? See? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if I use goods vehicle, let's see, 1 second here. You have, this is Gallagher. Good. Blank. Sheriff. Gallagher, good, blank. Sheriff. And Mulvaney. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. But 1, 2, 3. Person looks way too skinny to be. Paul Gallagher, lank and good. That's who's huddled.
Is anybody behind me? I can't see. Hey, you have all the information, right? I don't. Oh, okay. All right. Huh? No, it isn't named Karen. She said her name was Karen. The name? Oh, okay. All right. Well, I don't know. That's what I guess. I really don't know. Oh, I thought he was doing. Yeah, no. But he just told me to move out of the front house. Okay. Bye.
Yep. Okay, great. Thank you. All right. Thanks. Thank you. Bye. Stevie, I'm just going to take a picture of. Is this your screen here, Steve?
What's that?
Is this your phone that I'm looking at?
No. Why you want it?
No, I'm going to take a picture of it.
I think that's his phone, Mike.
682.
Do you have his phone?
I have the suspect. So, Kelly, go again.
FD is on route.
Front door.
Yeah. Is this yours?
Nope. Might be ladies.
Right there. Who's that? Why are they in the passenger seat? There's two people in that vehicle. Come from. Down the street. Holy shit. Yes. Yes. Holy fucking fucking. Why would they be coming from that way if you're taking her home?
I think that's not his phone, Mike. 682. Do you have his phone? I have the suspect. That's good.
Right there, ready, and right there. Oh, oh. Carrie, what you doing? $48.17.
Control to 34. Timeline.
All right, let's switch back over to goods. Actually, that's enough right now. Well, how about they just need to get some more wind wipers? I mean, all right, guys, we'll see you on the next one.